So it's a 95 Lexus es300. Issue with this car is, well, we're looking under the transmission right now. So the issue with this car is the overdrive lights flashing, a couple other check engine lights on for shift solenoid E. Sometimes there's felt like a limp mode with the vehicle. The car will get stuck in the gear. I think those are typically the symptoms. So what's going on here is the shift solenoid SL or shift solenoid E torque converter lockup solenoid. Should be the proper terminology for Lexus, the shift solenoid SL. So this is the wire that goes to the shift solenoid above here for the torque converter lockup. If the torque converter lockup solenoid, the overdrive lights flashing, the shift solenoid E is on your scanner, or shift solenoid SL, then you're gonna have to take this wire off. I got the transmission filter out. The pan, of course, the pan is off. Filter's out, and it's gonna be a single wire. This red wire here. You take this red wire off. Put a jumper wire to 12 volts and see if you can hear any audible clicking noise. If you don't, then this is bad, and you're gonna have to go in there and remove it. The part ran me $100 from a transmission shop, 105 or something like that, to be almost exact. It is a small cylinder. I'm gonna show you how that looks shortly. So that's how you diagnose it. Just take the pan out. This is one way. There are a couple other ways of doing it. Take the pan out, take the filter out, and detach this wire here. It's going to be a single red one. There are also going to be two solenoids above here, and there's another actuator down here. But those are going to be right here, these double wires for the solenoid, for the two twin solenoids. But this red wire here is what goes to the shift solenoid, the torque converter lockup. So take this red wire, jump it, put 12 volts to it. If you don't hear an audible click, then this is your problem if you get that shift solenoid E light coming on. But it is going to be a task getting this out and replacing it. Might I add, before I get ahead of myself, the aftermarket one does come, it's a different design. I'll show that later. But it has two wires on there. You have a ground wire on the aftermarket one, so don't think you got something wrong. You can get it on online, but time is not on my side, so I went and got one off from a transmission shop. So either way, still cheaper than having to go back through and putting the used part in there. But I'll pull it out, see what it looks like, and please take mental note of all these bolts. I'm going to go through Identifix, and hopefully if they should be able to show me the proper bolts and stuff. I got the procedure to take these bolts out so I don't have to drop out a lot of unnecessary stuff, because I did go to a junkyard, LKQ, to pull it yourself, to grab a solenoid, tested it, and it was defective, so I had to return it. It cost me $14 to test, to buy it, but it didn't work. So luckily I didn't put it in there and take shoot apart at it. I did test this one because I didn't want to go through that. Test your parts, please, especially if it's from a junkyard, to the best of your ability. But I'm going to get this stuff pulled out. I'll try my best to point out the bolts that are necessary to be taken out, but they are going to be different lengths. And it is going to be a pure mess if you don't make mental note or take photos about what you're taking off, because you will get yourself in a bind. So this video is also helpful for those who don't know, so at least you got a diagram of how it looks. So here we go, and it is quite convoluted with these miscellaneous hoses and stuff, so take note. I'll be back. Peace. Alright, I've taken that shield off here. I'm taking that little shield off. It retains these lines here. So I took those off. This is what it looks like once you remove that. What you have to do, they just fall right on out. You're just gonna have to take like a pair of pliers, flathead, and just pull them out. They come out I want to say real easy in a way. So see how easy that one came. I just pulled out with my hand, of course. And yeah, got another one right there. So it just comes right on out. That's what they are. So you just pull them out and pull those off to the side. So you don't have, there's nothing special. They're just retained by that bracket I just pulled out. It won't, but these are 10mm bolts that I used to pull that painting bracket for these lines out. So they just pull right on out, keep them in order. His video reference how they look. So this one right there. So it might be a bad idea to number them in sequence. You have to work your way from the top to the bottom. But yep. All right, carrying on. All right, so far got the manual valve body, manual select out. There were some other bypass lines I got removed. One over here, and there was another one down there. So still got everything in order. I did not look at Identifix yet, so I'm just going off of what I can see. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be not to my benefit, really. I'm not trying to look at a diagram. So, but I do have everything in order. I'll show you that after the fact. But this is what it looks like if you get some of the if you get the manual valve body out, manual select, and some of the other lines. So. Alright, so got the valve body detached at the moment. So don't touch the 8mm bolts. Just take off every 10mm bolt you see. Don't worry about the 8s. Loosen up all the 10mm bolts and the valve body will come out. Mind you, I did this before in the junkyard. I just made my mistakes there. So just relentlessly just start taking crap off. Yeah. There's a lot of bells and whistles in there, so yeah, you don't screw yourself over. So take off all the 10mm bolts. It's loose, I'm just letting some of it drain. And I will definitely have to detach the kick down cable that's sitting tucked away up here once I get it down. And I will show you the valve body once I get that removed to drain up. Alright, so got the valve body out. This is what it looks like, the valve body out of the transmission. So I took all the 10mm bolts out, had it loose, and once I'm gonna show you how I kept the bolts arranged. It was pretty reliable. I'm gonna say I didn't have to make a diagram or anything to keep the bolts in place. I'll show you what I did. But once you drop the valve body, you have the kick down cable right here, and you just detach that and keep it moving. But I want to show you, I'm going to let this drain. I'm going to show you what I did to keep the valve body in place. Alright. Alright, this is how I kept the bolts in place. I just took some cloth here, folded it over. When I took the bolt out, folded the cloth over and stuck it back in its position, and it's not going anywhere. So when I pull it out, we'll pull the cloth out, just look up in there, make sure no cloth is stuck up in there, and extract the cloth. If anything else in there, put the bolt back in there. So it helped me keep track of the bolts, so I ain't got to worry about it now. All right, on the other side here is where that solenoid resides. It comes out very simple. That light's about to die. I'm at the, oh shit. It comes out very simple. It's an 8mm bolt. It's an 8mm bolt. There it goes right there. I'm going to show you how to test that shortening when I get it set up. And once you pull that 8mm bolt out, take a flathead, pry it out, and come right out and replace it with the other one. I'm going to pull it out and get everything set up and show you how to test it. Okay, so to do a quick test with these solenoids, I'm going to show you the old one. I already tested this one, and this joke is definitely defective. So the casing's already ground to the frame. This is just only gets a hot signal, 12-volt signal to activate. So what I'm going to do is on this battery here, use a car battery. This is 12 volts, this is ground. I'm going to ground it out. It doesn't really matter since you're just testing it. Let me see if it Makes an audible click. It doesn't, as I said, I tested this already, and this is definitely defective. Also, you can do a resistance test and see if it makes have a resistance value. If you can find a specification for it. I don't have those numbers. This is the new one. This does have a ground wire. I know it's a little different, but what you're going to do is ground it to the body of the valve body. That's is going to go right under the bolt with it. So when you install it, with the bolt that you remove, you'll put this under there, and the bolt's what's going to hold that ground in place. So I'm going to show you the new one that's working. Same thing. .12 volts. Got a ground. Oh gosh. This is life right now. Now we gotta clean out. Alright. So I'm gonna ground it, and you should hear an audible click. And it didn't work, so quick test for that. But I'm gonna get this installed and put everything back in reverse order. So definitely take note of how I put those bolts up in case you might need help, because gosh, it's quite intricate. So yeah, like I said, I got everything lined up in order, so I'm just gonna put everything back in reverse order after I get the valve body installed again. Check the torque specs. I'll let you know once I get those numbers. Put the mechanical manual selector back in there and put all the necessary lines back. I do have these in order as I took them out in reverse from last to first, and put the necessary stuff back in place. I am not going to change that strainer. I put a transmission here a while ago. It's a custom car a couple years ago. Yes, it may be pointless, but it's not a filter. It's just a strainer. Take some brake cleaner, clean it out, keep it moving. And of course put new fluid in it. You'll be fine. It's not a filter, it's just a strainer. Alright, so yeah, if I get everything back installed, I'll show you if the check engine light should be off. I did have to replace the PCM because the car did have other issues. But like I said, I got the bolts in place, so I don't have to worry about them. Just take a piece of cloth, fold it over, put it back in its spot. I don't know, somebody maybe can take this, apply to other jobs, but that's how I did this one. Keep my mind at ease. Alright. So I got everything back intact. Everything's back like it's supposed to. The torque was like 9 pounds for every 10mm bolt, so that was the torque specs. I didn't use a torque wrench. I just used that good old wrist of mine, Dick Beaters. So I want to get some brake cleaner and clean everything off, clean the filter out, replace the gasket, fill the fluid up, and see how this joker works. And I can assure you that check in light should not come on. Get my fingers crossed. But I just used the 1/4 wrench to tighten up the 10mm, so you can't really apply that much torque on a 1/4 wrench drive and a small ratchet, like a stub ratchet. So, but yeah, that worked out perfect. So yeah, I'll get everything back and get the transmission fluid filled up and see how it works. But definitely this just showing this should help a lot of people. So I mean, I had to go back and review my footage of how the lines were routed. So this should definitely be some help. Pretty sure a lot of videos aren't really going to go in depth like that. But this is it. Just might come back and show that the issue's resolved, but I didn't even show the symptoms before. So, but this is it. It's pretty much self-explanatory. Put the filter back on, put the fan back on, fill the fluid up, and recheck fluid. So I might just end the video there. Here you go. Peace. All right, so the vehicle's repaired. We got the transmission fluid replaced. It's been running for a little bit, so I had to top the fluid off. That's why it's warmed up. Before or during the issue, what happened, the car would instantly call the check engine light to come on. There's currently no codes at the moment. No fault codes. If I go to vehicle status, there's no codes found. and of course the monitor is incomplete as 4. But that code would instantly come up. Generally, anytime the car has a fault code, such as like a shift solenoid, anything like a coil, for example, which was very common, the connections inside the electrical components broken. That's really the only way. The check this really don't help you too much as far as telling you the issues in some manufacturers. So, you know, I mean, luckily this was it's simple. It's a very simple system. You know, the computer. You saw how the solenoid operated, but generally the check engine light's not going to come on unless there's a broken circuit within the electrical part. Fords are very bad for not giving you any codes, but that's a whole nother topic. This Lexus, Toyotas, Hondas, Acuras are pretty decent as far as leading you to the problem. But just, again, you still will have to check the PCM wiring connections to narrow down before you go through something that in depth of repairing this issue. So please diagnose your stuff. Other than that, this car did have some other issues, such as computer PCM problems. What happened, the check engine light would come on, and the car it didn't display a code. I will say it did not display a code at all. Nothing. It didn't tell you anything. It just went into like the rev limiter basically would it would flop at like 3,000 or so. You could barely press the gas and raise the RPM up. But what led me to the problem was the fact that when it came to look at the live data, it would kick me out of the computer and would not allow me to look at PIDs. So just like Jeeps, I've had that problem before with Jeep. You would have a issue with the computer system, no running conditions. Even though if it runs, you would not be able to look at, or it'll cut on, you wouldn't be able to look at PIDs. Like on Jeep, I would be able to look at 2, like a throttle position or something else, something stupid. But this didn't. It would not allow me to connect to the PCM in some cases. In some cases it would, but it still wouldn't give me a code. So the power supply going to the computer was fine, and that's obvious what's suspected to be a computer related issue if you can't look at any PIDs and you're able to log in or connect to the PCM intermittently. So, but yeah, this issue's fixed. As far as the shift solenoid, it is engaging in reverse drive, so everything was hooked up properly, I can assure you. Like I said, I'm going to test drive it, and if there's anything else that comes about, I will update. But if you don't see an update, then the car is flipping fixed. So, all right, that's the end of this video. Peace and haggeries.